I can.
All right, give me a mic check. Say the alphabet.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
Sounds great. Thank you. How you feeling?
Good.
Okay. Okay, so are you ready?
I am.
Okay, I'm going to roll the opening, and then when that's over, you'll see yourself come up, and that's your cue, okay?
All right.
Stand by.
It's the visit with a person of high strangeness. We're coming at you today. We're not coming at you, but you know, we're gonna do our show here at the new studio at TCTV. And for those of you with high definition, I got a little older. The reason I'm redoing the predictions is that we discovered that almost everything in the original 2015 predictions had played out already, and except one thing, and that had to do with New Orleans, and I don't have a clue what that means. And so I'm going to revisit this whole issue to see what's ahead of us, because everything else has pretty much played out already. But before I get to this, I'd like to discuss something with you. For those of you that's familiar with my show, I have followed the Bob White object since, I believe, 2002 or 3, I don't remember exactly. And we have some new information on that, and they were gracious that the estate was gracious enough to give me permission to share that with you. So this is the first time you're going to hear about this. For those of you that's not familiar with the Bob White object, Bob White, the late Bob White, was a musician, and he was traveling with a companion to, I think he was going to Vegas, Nevada in 1985, and they were driving through in the Grand Junction area when this bright light came, and then something fell out of the sky, and he decided to pick it up, and he was a little concerned, he calls it, at that time. So he picked it up and he waited till it cooled off a little bit, and this is what it looked like. And he put it in his trunk and eventually gave it to a sister that had it for several years, and then at one point dug it back up. I mean, he asked her to return it, but the storyline got revisited, at which time Dr. Gibbons, Dr. Robert Gibbons came along, and also Dr. Gilbert Jordan. They are scientists, and they decided to take a closer look at this object, which eventually was on display at the Museum of the Unexplained in Missouri, in Reed Spring. I think it was Reed Springs, anyway, in Missouri, Reed Spring, Missouri. And over the years, it has been tested now. I came in, I believe it was in 2003. I was in Nevada, given a lecture, and the Bob White people and the object were at Harris. I was at the Flamingo, and that's how I fell into this whole storyline, because they asked me to take a look at that. Well, needless to say, I became very attached to the object, and over the years, I held it, and it used to be very cold, and I put it in my lap, and it warms up. So even though it is made out of metal, when you touch it, it feels like styrofoam, actually. And so, so there's 4 shows on TCTV, and I will re-air them after this show in the next few weeks, so you can familiarize yourself with everything all over again. So anyway, in the meantime, Bob White passed away. The object became part of an estate. In the meantime, they have raised enough money to have it re-examined. The big issue was it from this planet or not? So in the meantime, the new tests have come in, and I was gonna read them to you, but I changed my mind because it's just too technical and scientific. But as you can see here, it has the charts and what it looked like and things like that. So I'm just gonna summarize it for it. It has now been, sorry about that. It has now been determined that there are components to the metal that are not of earthly origin. And we also, a while back, had it tested for sound, and that also checked out. And so if you could go to either my website or Bob White's website under hardevidence.com. You can look at the whole thing, and it's very exciting to tell you that, yes, Bob White's object did not come from this planet. So, having said that, we're going to go through the predictions now, okay? Everything that we discussed for 2015 has already happened, with the exception, like I said, of something that's going to be going on in New Orleans. And at this moment, I still don't know what that could be. So what I did is I went back and revisited everything. And I only went forward for a few months to see if I could cut it off at the end of the year. And what I came up with is that we will have new courtships and frivolous characters. We getting ready to associate ourselves with people that are not very trustworthy. They make hasty decisions, and they have mostly material interests at heart. There's going to be unanswered questions. We're going to be surrendering to different culties, and money is always going to win out on that. We will have disagreement and disharmony. We have to distance ourselves from fighting with partners and associates, because that's going to create communication problems. If you remember, the reason we're doing these predictions is I'm looking for potential issues or problems that could affect the United States directly or indirectly, and we still have time to change this. Because if we don't, then you will make me right again, and I would really like to be wrong here. So I haven't inserted this. And telling time is like hitting the moon with a paper clip. So I haven't inserted this. I will continue here. The only other time I had to do prediction twice was the year of 9/11. And what I saw at that time, and I don't see anything, I perceive things. What I saw at that time was birds. I thought there were birds crashing into places. And that later turned out to be, 9/11, when the birds were planes. Now, in this chunk here for the coming year, I also have birds. Now, I'm not sure if those are planes again, or if there are issues with, what should I call it? If they are, again, issues with terrorist attacks, I can't go that far because I don't know if it'll play out like this, or maybe there is something in that order coming and they will prevent this. But it says here that you can and you must end that period. That cycle is over and the time is up and we have to be ready. So what I'm thinking is that we're almost at a point now where we really have to be on alert a little in reference to things like that. Wars and disputes are also chances for income. The corporations are going to take an advantage of some of the situations that are coming, and our free will is almost a joke. I mean, in order to fall into place and to get to a point where everything is rather smooth, we kind of have to go with the program. We can no longer say, well, I want to do this way and this way only, because we have to do things in unity. It's really that time. Even though we have free choices, we really have to be careful to kind of follow the rules under the circumstances. We're going to meet up with old friends, and we have to change ideas based on the present. I'm not sure if that has to do with that election or not, but minds have to be changed, and the way we look at things definitely has to be changed. And we have to allow us to be pleasant and agreeable sometimes, and not be so frontal like a bull and want to get everything done our way. Rather treat it like you would a lion. You know, you kind of butter it up a little bit and it won't bite you. But that's kind of where we are. So we really need a reality check, and not in 4 or 5 months. I mean, like right now, because things are trying to maneuver us in the wrong direction. And today's the 25th of April, 2015. So they just had a huge earthquake in Nepal. And it made me think of our earthquakes here, because we've had several smaller ones here in recent days. They always tell us to prepare for things and get ready. And that's fine and good, except when you can't live your life trying to be in fear and to prepare for something that may never come, or even if it does. I'd like to tell you what happened to me. I was the most prepared person for the earthquake, the Nisqually quake. And when the earthquake came, all my supplies was inside of my house. Everything that I needed was inside of the house, because, you know, I was so prepared. And sometimes all bets are off and you have to go with the flow. And that's where we are right now. So we have to come out of fear and try to live as, I'm looking for a word here. I don't know what the word is, but we need to live our life as pleasant as we can, because the world is moving at such a pace that when something really goes wrong, we're not going to have time to be be worried or prepared, just so you know. A lot of emails, a lot of discussion about the police brutality. Talk to your children, because our new system here, our new reality is not as easy to cope with as when we were young, or even our children, you know. So we have to change our line of thinking there, because we really need to stop doing all these violent things. It's just terrible. So I'm going to take a look at the rest of 2015. So I'm having dead air here. That's what that means, is when you don't talk. But I need to shuffle these a little bit. Okay. So we have the drought already. We have the food shortages eventually. We have new non-wars, just conflicts that we are involved in. We have been to bed and associated with leaders that do not have our interest at heart. And so I'm going to try to continue from here. The country is very male again. All of a sudden we have this logical thinking that's really not going to get us very far. Oh, let me put this in here. Somebody came to my house the other day, and they wanted to know if I had heard of a pill that when you go to the public bathroom, you put it in the toilet and the bathroom don't smell. And I thought that was a little crazy, but you know, there really is such a thing. And that's kind of where we are. We almost need a pill to cover up some of the ugly things that we're doing as a whole. Yeah, not just America, it's the whole world is very territorial. Chances are nobody knows why they're doing anything. But we need a chill pill as a whole. We really, really do. We're going to be able to juggle things just a little longer. But then it changes and goes to like the police brutality that we've been experiencing here. It's not a new thing, by the way. I talked about things like that in 2000 or earlier, actually. I see I've been doing this since 97, since 98. But it's just not coming to the forefront. So make sure you educate your children what to say and what not to say when it comes to law enforcement now. As we know, not everybody is operating under the same standards, but we just have to change our line of thinking a little bit. But it almost looks like that whole period will come to an end. Now, how that's going to play out, I don't know at this time. Throughout the summer, there will be shortages. We already had that, where the prices will go up because food will not grow the way it's supposed to. Of course, we know about the drought in California. But when things get questionable or tight, people have they kind of have the need to look for an outside source to rescue them. And in some cases, that is a religious belief system or something. So I think that the religion is going to get more, maybe not the system, but the people. Religion is going to get more radical than what we are used to, because things ahead of us is very fear-based. So if we could change ourselves a little and trust in whoever we communicate with or trust in essay. Yeah, well, not religiously, but I think we all have a need to believe in something or someone, and if it isn't money, it's a person or a God, or it doesn't matter, but I think we all have the need to do that. So if we can kind of trust ourselves and what we know a little more than we have, that's half of the battle, because according to this year, everything that comes next is laid out. In other words, we can go with it as smoothly as we can, because everything has to happen a certain way for new things to take place. A lot of anxiety about money again. We thought that we were out of the financial crisis, but it almost looks like there is a little setback. Now, whether that is manipulated and man-made because of the elections, I don't know. But it's going to get a little sticky, not like it was in 2008 or 2009. But just a little, it's going backwards just a little bit. And I had this the last time, we're going to lose our house. What means if we are not careful, we are not going to be credible to the rest of the world, and that would not be a good thing. So when the election is next year in 2016, so you have a whole year to make up your mind what it is that you want to do, or who you can trust, if anybody, and get a general idea where you want to have your children and your grandchildren and your great-great-children go into the future, and don't just aimlessly believe something you hear. Research things, and please be sure that you don't accidentally buy into something that's not true. And you have to vote. You have to vote. The shows, my shows are politically and religiously neutral, but this is changing a little bit here, just for the day, because it has to do with predictions. It has nothing to do with my actual show and opinions on that, okay? We're gonna go in circles. Mental illness is on the rise. And we need something to look forward to, something to hold on to. I see hospitals. Hospitals having issues, not with payments. I think the payments they're getting is the money part, or Obamacare, whatever they call it. That part is okay. But I see issues with hospitals. Maybe it's a recall of medication or something. I believe before the year's out, all states will have gay marriage. Taxes will go up everywhere. The issues with the cruise ships is not going to change. There's a word for it. There's a word for it. I don't know what it is right now, but you know, when they have to disinfect cruise ships and things. And I'm almost thinking that is also going to start happening in trains, in mass transportation. So make sure you always have hand sanitizer and you know, keep everything clean, because there's new stuff out there we haven't even heard of, because we're constantly disturbing the earth and the environment. So it's no telling what we'll dig up here accidentally. And I'm trying to look at the candidates here. But at this time, I can't tell one from the other. Like, there's no agenda. There is no agenda. But I do know if someone doesn't come out of left field here pretty soon to make some sense, we will have issues. November 15, several politicians, now I don't know if this is local or on a, if it's local or on a national platform, several politicians will either be removed or they're just not there. It's like being replaced. And when that happens, we sort of need to go with the flow because technically speaking, a rearranging has to take place in order for us to continue as a strong country. And the way it is now, it just doesn't look right. It does not look right. Stock market is going to make a little bleep there. It's going to fall for a minute, but it will recover. I can't give you the month, but quite a few people is going to get very upset. So if you panic and move your money out of the system, then of course that's not going to help. So when it takes that dip, if you just wait it out, it'll recover. And so just don't leave everything the way it is, so you don't help it along to the point where it could really take a dive. So just hold your horses. Everything's going to be okay. It's going to be okay there. We need to get more family oriented, not just in our own personal family, but as the family of human beings, of Americans, of citizens of the planet Earth. Because if we don't do that, it doesn't look very good. Now, if you remember, I use 2 decks of cards, so when I get the same thing, it lets me know I really need to re-examine that a little bit. In April of 2015, there is so many countries at odds. There is so much bloodshed, and one spills over into the other. So I don't know how we're going to fix it. And remember, this is the predictions for the United States. I'm not even sure if we can fix it. But while all this is going on, you need to take your physical family and your tribe or your clan or whatever group that you belong to and be kinder, be more understanding. And enjoy this in-between time of, I won't say peace, because in a way we don't have peace anywhere at the moment, but create some memories and keep your loved ones close to you, because somewhere along the line here, very shortly, life as we know it is going to change again. Yeah. I'm going to stick with that because I just saw that. And talk to each other, compare notes. Everybody has something in common. And these horrible divisions that we have created within our country between races and groups and belief systems. And it's just not working right now. We all need to kind of pull together and see if we can get some peace of mind for a moment, okay? And that's accurate, I would say. I believe there will be second part of the year. I believe we're going to come really close to problems in the homeland, and I'm assuming that most of it will be detected in time. Yeah, but there's a real caution here. There is a real caution here. And then when we get over this hump, and we will, not sure when exactly, but we will get over this hump that we're looking at here, and we can have new beginnings. But all in all, I think marijuana is going to be legalized in a lot more states than what it is right now. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. Between now and November, quite a few court decisions will be made that will ease some of that and take the pressure off the justice system, because by now people have realized that the justice system is really we're overdoing it a little bit with incarcerations and things, but that's not news either. But it's here, so I needed to mention that. We just need to relax. Everything's pretty laid out. If we need to go with the flow, we need to go with the flow. New laws, they will throw out some of the good laws we have and kind of revert back to, I would say, 30 years ago. That's not so good. They're going to appoint another woman to the Supreme Court. They're going to have to change, what is that called? Diplomats, people that go to other countries and negotiate for us. And it almost looks like we would be better off if we had more females, because females think long term. We kind of have these feelers here somewhere, and we kind of know what's coming our way. So I would assume it to be a good thing to have more female diplomats at this time, at this juncture here, because things is going to get real crazy in 16, just so you know. The accidents with the trains are not going to improve. We will have more trains falling off the tracks. At least 2 more bridges will have major issues. Forest fires, all the things we talked about in the original predictions, that stands because the seasons have already started on that. And look in your heart and make up your own mind about how you want to do things, because the information we're getting right now is not very good. And I want to say something about TV now. I've taken you on a journey here a few years ago, and I will re-air that to show you how we do TV shows and how we make movies and how we superimpose things and create things that's not there and make you say things, looks like you're saying things you never even said. And so people getting really smart as to how this is done. And because of that, we don't really know what's real or what is not real. And so it's very easy to say, well, but I saw it on TV. So not everything is accurate. And when you look at cable news and things like that, to fill a newscast for 24 hours, to constantly talk about something, there's only so many subjects you can have. And so they regurgitate things, and they give opinions on things that never happened. And so when you turn on the TV and you see a segment, that doesn't mean that's how it is. Maybe you caught the middle of a conversation or the end of a conversation. So investigate what you're looking at. Don't draw a conclusion based on a little clip or something, because that's how we get maneuvered. And it could really be easy to make the wrong decisions, especially come voting time, if you are not informed. And that would not, I will tell you again, that would just not be good. Work, we had this last time too, that it appeared that 3 people did the job of 1 person. That's going to continue. That is going to continue, and I can put a time period on that. And there will be some new laws put in place that we're really not going to like, but what do? We kind of have to go with it there. Water shortage is not going to get any better, so whether they ask you to preserve water or not doesn't make any difference. So this summer, if your garden isn't watered, your grass isn't watered, that's okay, because we really need to help the planet at this time and think more on a nurturing, from a nurturing point of view, rather than, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, if you know what I mean. One more recall of medication, and pull it together, everybody pull it together, so we are not so divided as a people. Summer is going to be rough, really rough. Yeah. In one of the other things I'm looking at here is that we at a point now where we have these different generations. In my family, we have 4 generations at the time, so we have to stick with the times rather than do everything 2 generations ago. That doesn't apply anymore. The generation after that doesn't apply anymore. And for us, that is from this older generation. We have to allow the young people to do things their way a little bit, at least compromise, because I think that's where most of the problem is. We no longer speak the same language. In as much we don't understand each other, the technology changes, and every day things change. So we have to meet in the middle here, because just for instance, I'm really excited about TCTV, the new studio. You push a button and here, everything's at my fingertips. But it frightens me because I don't understand it as a whole, so I have to trust the people that's doing this for me to know what they're doing, or else what I'm trying to say to you doesn't come out right. You see what I mean? And so we don't have that, I'm not talking about myself now, back to general. We don't have that trust level because everybody wants to be right. And that's not going to be helpful when it comes to our country. It really isn't. So, Very interesting. So I don't know who's outside, if you can hear me. If you have any questions, this would be a good time to ask. If anybody has any questions here? Are there going to be extraterrestrials in 2016? Well, we only have 6 months left in this year. I think that they call it disclosure, but I'm not really sure if that's what you call it. I believe there is enough awareness with enough people where we know everything's in place, things is already happening. If you mean extraterrestrials, where NASA will tell you we can now prove there is life on other planets, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it'll take a little longer than the next 6 months. And I don't know what would have to happen for them to make a sudden, hello, here they are type announcement, you know. But I would think 81% of people living on the planet, they are aware that, you know, there is other life in other places. So is the government going to announce we have aliens amongst us in the next 6 months? Probably not. But it's sort of moving that way. Did that answer your question? Yep. Okay. Yeah. And then here, just look here, the Bob White thing. I mean, but they have been working on this for what? This happened in 1985. And they just now getting a little closer than they were. And keep in mind, it takes money to do all these things. And scientists, and they're not cheap. And most people that's very dedicated to a subject like that, they have no funding. You know, we don't get any help from nobody. Most of us, we try to come up with the money to do this ourselves. Now, the crop circle season is about to start. There was one little skimpy one in England. It didn't amount to anything. It's almost like the phenomenon said, well, let me see if I remember how to do it. But as time goes on, usually there is 1 or 2 crop circles that is actually like a billboard, and it will represent something or make us aware of something, and those are the 2 that I look at, but that hasn't happened yet. And United States, we probably won't have a lot of them this year because a lot of farmers didn't put the crop in the ground because they can't water it. So I think the majority of crop circles is probably going to be, like always, England, and some in India, I think. And so somewhere along the line, go to my Facebook. I post things there that people send from all around the world. But I think crop circles may have a little indication as to where we are in this disclosure evolution. And make sure if you see one to report it. The UFO hotline is now hooked into the 911 system. So when you see me driving around my car with that number on it, don't call and say, are you kidding? Do you really believe in aliens? Because it hooks you into the 911 system. So we have come further on that. We're not considered loonies anymore because it is a real, God, I'm saying a lot today, but it's a fact that these things are happening. Whether you believe it or you're into it or not, that no longer matters because this is how it is. And if you should ever find yourself in a situation, whatever you do, don't panic. Just call it in, okay? I'm going to go back to this for a minute. Rough summer for many of us. I'm not sure if our budget is set up for the summer that we're experiencing, because we spend so much on other things. So I see lots of wildfires, things like that. And it has to be rethought how the money is allocated to help the people that is caught in areas of mudslides and fires and earthquakes and tornadoes and things like that, because it's like a lot of the money is going somewhere else. Yeah, it's going somewhere else. Job rate is unemployment is going up a little bit, not by much, but a little bit. The interest rates will be raised before the year's out. There is somebody walking on my head. There is noises here. It sounds like somebody's. This studio, I don't know how. Can I ask how many feet high this studio is, the ceiling?
5.
How high is the ceiling?
25 feet.
25 feet. Okay, and I tell you, somebody's walking on my head up here. Can you hear it?
It's raining.
Raining? Wow. All right then. But anyway, I was going to tell you, somebody's here at 25 feet. Wow, that's a lot. Anyway, so that's all I can tell you on that. So I'm going to summarize this for you. Let me get my paper. Oops, we lost my head. Over here, we're in the beginning when I told you that we will re-encounter with friends. We have to return to our origins and change ideas on the present. But I'm going to go back to this. It means that we will run into people that we know, regardless of what generation we are. We need to revisit who we are, what we stand for, and what we're doing. At the same time, we have to allow the young people to do things and trust that they value advice the older people is given, because this world has changed so much that anybody over 50 is like the new. I'm older than that, and to me it's like a new planet. So I appreciate the young people and listen to the young people, and vice versa, or else we're just gonna run into trouble. And maybe we can agree on some things. And like I said, treat it like a lion, you know, say, oh, good kitty, good kitty. And you won't get bit like that. So, anything else, any other questions, any announcements that I need to make?
Your new book?
Oh, my new book. Oh, yeah, here. These are all books. On my website, you can download it for free. It says, leave the thinking to the horses. Their head is bigger than yours. Well, actually, that kind of summarizes what I did here today. And these are all the newsletters from last year. So it has a historical record of everything that happened. Oh, there's a TCTV studio here. Let me see. When we got the new, yeah, check it out. And so, anyway, it keeps a historical account of monthly of what's going on and what we're doing. So there's 8 books on my website that you can download if you like. and share it with your friends. If you have any ideas for shows, we are doing shows again. We're filming new ones. I'm trying to put the remainder of what I have on hand on YouTube before, let's say before Thanksgiving, because there's hundreds. And so if anybody want to come help me, that would really be good. And so there's that. And then I'm going to pull this over here. It's going to make noise. It's almost time to go here. This was a gift. This was a gift from someone, and that's a crystal ball from Eastern Russia, and we traced it back to the 1600s. You got my face in it. That's not what we wanted. Let's see, where do I put it? I'm going to go this way so you can see it. How's that? But it's the clearest crystal I have ever seen. And I wanted to share that with you today. And it weighs like 10 pounds. So, but you know what? We're almost at the time where I have to say goodbye. Give me a call, not before noon. I'm not a nice person in the morning. And if you have any ideas for shows, please come and let me know, and I will invite you to come to the TCTV and do a show. And please be more compassionate with the people around you, and just go with the flow. Yeah, you have to go with the flow, or else we're gonna bump our heads more than once between now and December. And that's it. So how are we for time? Good?
Okay, you're done?
Well, I'm not getting any more on what I'm doing here, so maybe we're done, and keep the comments coming and the questions, and it was nice visiting with you today. So.
Miss Lilian, we'd like to thank you for all the fun you took us here. Take us there, and it's just because you really care where our journey goes. All it begins as part of our planning will extend. And if we do our part, we'll fulfill our mission. We've had from the start. For all the fun, take us here, and you take us there.